Welcome, everyone. You are tuning into Engaging Walk. My name is Drake.
And my name is Rubie.
We believe in the power of walking together and talking together.
It's a simple act to stay connected, and movement is key.
This week, we will discuss the concept of family norms and roles.
And how you and your significant other can take time to make deep connections.
Yeah, so this week, we took a walk over in Torrey Pines, California. It's northern part. Yeah, it's one of Rubie's favorite places to go walk, and we took Boba. Checked out the waves, checked out the sea life, the rocks, did a little bit of hiking, and yeah, it was really fun. Beautiful area to go take a walk.
The water was so clear, yes, but it's cold. It's
and
cold for me.
Rubie and I have lately we've been having a lot of discussions about our family norms. Mm-hmm. And while we were on that engaging walk, we talked about our family norms and our roles in our family, and we thought we would discuss that with you guys today. But before we get into that, we just wanted to also thank all the new subscribers, all the new listeners, people that liked us on Facebook. Just wanted to give a shout out to those people. Yeah, it looks like we got a bunch of new listeners in the U.S., maybe I think a couple from Nigeria, so Africa. Woo, got a shout out for you guys. And also Belgium.
Belgium, yes.
Belgium, we have some fans over in Belgium. Really want to give you a shout out and a thank you.
And Naples, Italy.
No, that was from my album.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, my album got some new listeners over in Europe and Asia, so that was pretty cool. But for Engaging Walk, we had some new listeners. I'm pretty sure it was Nigeria, a very long-established listener from Belgium, which we really want to thank you.
Woo-hoo.
And some folks from the U.S. I think it was someone from Oregon, and then some folks out in the East Coast, Virginia, I believe it was. So we really want to thank you guys. And without further ado, we're going to dive right into the content. So this week, again, our content is revolving around norms and roles in our family. So what do you want to say about family norms, Rubie?
So family norms is like something that we do, daily life and things that we do with the families and with a loved one. And so it's a little bit different from the traditions. I mean, I think by doing that, like the norm, you create a traditions. But traditions is more like a long-term thing that you do with your family, is when you talk about traditions, you think of something that
like Christmas, like what you do for Christmas,
Easter, like something is very specific event. So it's kind of like different, and I think it's built up from the norms that you do daily with your family. And so for us, for Drake, we build our norms. We discuss about it before getting to marriage, during the dating stage.
Right.
And we are, you heard us talking about DTR, which is...
Define the Relationship.
Yeah.
With Danny Silk and Life Academy.
Mm-hmm. So we had a chance to look into what kind of norm that we want to carry into our relationship. Especially we come from different, background, different childhood. So maybe you can discuss with your loved one. Maybe you already have done it. If not, then this is a good chance for you to sit down and, hey, this is how I grow up with. This is my norm look like for me, for my daily life. What does your norm look like? And then, so we said it. We sat down and we discussed. And we want our family carry, healthy norms. And I just put up, the document that we had. And so we talk about love, respect. What do you mean by love, one another? What kind of norm that you do, and then respect and honor and faith, and then also trust and communication. So those are the pillars that we look into it, and we say, okay, so explain more to me. What does that look like as norm for you? And one of the things that I think we said about love is that when I feel disconnect with you, Drake will be the one that, or we find a place of contact, which is holding hand or a hug, to tell like, hey, I love you. And that could be, like a norm. And so, and then is there any other norms that you want to share?
Yeah, I think some of the norms that kept popping up in that document that have lived true in our marriage has been norms that surround the idea of connection and maintaining intimacy in our relationship. So especially like things like that, like holding hands, and not just holding hands during conflict, but always holding hands. We always try to we just do it. We just do it like in the car. We do it when we walk. We do it in the house. We hold hands. And that constant source of connection really helps us to feel connected to each other.
And
that's part of our norms. That's part of our family tradition that we utilize every day. Even when we're having an argument, like we'll eventually come back and have some sort of connection time.
And it's funny because when you share that, there was an event. So we went to a marriage conference, and and we just our norm. We're holding hand, walking toward our car, and there was a lady behind us say, "Oh, it's working! You guys are holding hand," and we was like, "We're holding hands the whole time," So it was funny moment for us. Oh, at least for me.
Well, because typically people go to that marriage conference because they're having issues in their relationship, which
not necessary for everyone.
You're having issues. That's you work through them. But we went to the marriage conference not because we're having issues, but because we just like to do these sorts of things and grow, which I'm pretty sure our audience can relate to. Because hey, you might not be in trouble in your marriage or your relationship, but you're listening to this podcast anyways because. Yeah. These are healthy discussions to have.
It just showed that you were intentional with your marriage, to your marriage,
And so that kind of gets to this idea of like our norms highlight something. In our case, our norms highlight an important aspect of our relationship, which is maintaining connection.
And be, intentional and, clear in our communications, like be vulnerable, like, hey, no matter what happened, yes, I feel this, but my priority is you. I want to stay connected with you.
Yeah, and we have lots of norms in our family. We pray before we leave, before I leave for work. We go to church every Sunday, and then we have a schedule that's posted on our refrigerator. And if there are things that pop up, we evaluate them. Sometimes we might have family be like, "Hey, do you want to come over tonight?" And we're like, "Hey, you know what? That kind of interferes with our schedule." When we take our schedule very seriously. So Or in other times we're like, yeah, you know what? That warrants us breaking our schedule. Let's go take care of that real quick. Or
date nights even.
Date nights.
And then we have
time with our dog.
Yes.
Training her. Things like that. These are all parts of our family tradition. Then she becomes a part of our family norms.
Yeah.
Where we incorporate her into it, and we're like, we have norms set up around like how we work with her and how we train her and what expectations we have of her and us with handling her.
Yeah, and our norms is constantly evolved throughout the time because like we talk about that before marriage, but then as we are in marriage for like months, then the norms can change a little bit, and then we evaluate. Because I think that's the beauty of it. Like we don't have to have a set of rules that things that you need to be done and follow it exactly the same. But then
life changes.
Yeah, so encourage you guys to like change and evolve your norms with your loved one. Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, I think so. Going along with norms, you also have roles.
Yeah.
And we have family roles. There's certain things that Rubie is more equipped to deal with than I, and likewise, and then vice versa. I'm more equipped to deal with certain things than she is. Yeah. This could be just based off of our strengths and weaknesses, but it could also just be based off of our gender. I'm a man and she's a woman, and I deal with a lot of carrying the heavy laundry up and down the stairs.
That's very attractive.
And then she handles a lot more of the folding.
Oh yeah.
And I help with the folding, but sometimes she does it on her own.
Yeah, I got trained by my mom.
And then she cooks sometimes, and then I clean the dishes.
Most of the time.
And then, so we share those roles, but we also identify like areas in which I have a certain advantage, and then in other areas in which she has a certain advantage. One of the things that we discovered quickly early on is Rubie is very schedule oriented, and I'm not. I'm more goals and like big picture kind of like things, and Rubie is more like, what are we exactly going to do on this day on this time, and then filling that out. Would you
Or
say
like
that's accurate?
keep track on things. Yeah. Because for me, I got frustrated, and I feel like it's not honoring the time that you put in to make the schedule. So if you already make the schedule, but then you don't follow through it, then it just doesn't go with honoring the time that you did. But yeah,
Yeah, so we figured out early on, like, hey, Ruby's gonna be in charge of the schedule, and but lately I've been coming in and then and setting like things that we're gonna be doing,
yeah,
and then I'd handle like handling like the budget and things like that, and that's just like things that we making sure that, like, the bills get paid and things like that. So
and
those
then-
are things that like
yes.
we discussed pretty early on into the marriage of like, and then divvying up those responsibilities, but that person isn't solely responsible for that, if that makes sense. It's just like they're kind of like the point person,
Yeah.
and then we both oversee pretty much everything, but we just have we just distribute these things according to our strengths.
Just like when you go to work, you may in charge of you are leading this project, but you also have your teammates going with you. You don't do it by yourself. So it just also like I will leading some specific area in family, but Drake would does some of the leading projects, and of course we talk about this way before in dating, so that it just help us to prepare ourselves mentally and okay,
Week by week, month by month.
yes, we talk about that.
Yeah, so we constantly revisit, like, hey, how we do on the budget for this month? Oh, we were over on this, but we were under on this other thing, and we met our savings goals. So things like that. And then we just like we're constantly evaluating them and constantly looking at them.
Yeah.
And so that works for us, could work for you. If you have like other things that work for you in your family roles and your family norms, definitely share that with us on like the different social media platforms. We got Facebook, we got Instagram, and we got YouTube. And so you
we
can
would
find our
love to
videos
hear
there.
from you. And I think what, if you discuss this with your loved one, it's really like clear out a lot of conflict, because maybe the conflict you run into because you guys don't have the very clear road, and you get confused. Like, are you gonna do the laundry, or am I doing the laundry, or are we taking turns? So, for example, like that, or like, are you gonna be solely just work on the kitchen and then I'm just work in the garage, or are we sharing? Having that discussed up front, it just clear a lot of miscommunications and conflict.
Yeah, so that's a lot to digest. These are really heavy things to talk about, but they're also really important things to talk about. And developing healthy norms in your family can be a challenge. But like Rubie was talking about, they evolve over time, and you constantly have to look at them and be like, hey, are these norms that we have healthy? Lately we've been coming home and all we do is just watch Netflix. It might be relaxing, but it's not necessarily healthy. So let's reevaluate our norms. Or on the flip side, it could be like, hey, we have been burning the midnight oil. All we do is work. I come home, we work. I need some relaxing time. So let's put that into our norm schedule. Things like that.
Yeah, and it just fly off my mind. I forgot. Also discuss what your like. The more detailed you go into your norms, the better it is, because like the norm that Drake think about a wife look like may be different the way that I imagine myself. So where is a common ground, and how do you integrate those norms together? I think that's very important. And guess what? It's very healthy, because now I get to back in what I'm trying to say is that when I was single, I carry everything. Now I get someone to carry that load with me. So it's a teamwork. It's very exciting. Yes, it's kind of harder to work with someone else, but when you guys figure it out, it's beautiful dance.
Yeah, we definitely get more accomplished together than
a lot.
Yeah, than I would have alone. So again, that just speaks to highlighting your partner's strengths and utilizing them.
Yes.
and not being afraid to be like, hey, look, you know what? While I do this, can you please do this? While I'm doing this, can you please do that other thing? And now we have relaxing time and we got two things done as opposed to just one.
And then compliment with each other as they accomplish that, because like, oh wow, you're great at this. Like I remember Drake was not very sure about cooking, and then but he's just so interested. It was very interested in that, and he just watched shows about cooking, and then he was like, babe, let me try this out. And so when he tried and it tastes delicious, really good, and that moment you just throw into some compliments, and that will make their day.
For sure. Yeah, I think it's a great thing to always compliment the little things.
Yeah.
And to not take those for granted, because you have a great life together.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people out there, you probably have a wonderful relationship and a wonderful life with your partner, and you have to take time to celebrate that and to be grateful. So always make sure to maintain that love and to express your love and to hug, kiss, and like, hey, thank you for that.
Yeah.
So let's go. Let's also talk a little bit about. So we talked about the evolution of norms. Now we're going to talk about this last topic before we get into the assignment, which is communicating when you're scared or you're hurt.
Yeah. So like basically, like how do you develop healthy norms in your family? And I think one of the things is like you have to evaluate your norms. Like, are they healthy or not healthy? Are they celebrate life and hope and all positive things, or is more negative or nagging? And communication, even when you feel scared and hurt, that is very powerful, because you being powerful person. You say, hey, I don't feel comfortable right now, but I feel like I need some time to digest, and I come back to you maybe when I feel comfortable, maybe tomorrow when you come back from work, let's talk about that. And how do we protect the health of our connections is also very important. Conflicts happen. Yeah, I'm not surprised when that happened. I'm expecting that, because we are two human. We are one, but like two people. But then don't just focus on, again, like teamwork. Don't focus on the person. Focus on the things that you guys get to work on. To get to work on a conflict and figure out how to tackle that instead of attack the person. Yeah,
you don't want to attack the person. You attack the problem, and keep your eyes on the problem as opposed to assigning blame.
Yeah.
And shame and things like that, like, because it could just go down a bad road.
Definitely, yeah, it's not working. Growing up in the family that we don't have these norms and healthy, and of course, I'm sharing this is not like looking down on my parents. I love them, I honor them. What I'm trying to say is that sometimes we grow up and we don't have unhealthy norm, and that's okay. We can create that, because we are powerful people. We can learn and bringing in things that we learn from other. Like I don't grow up with these norms, but hey, I can implement these healthy norm in my marriage right now. So you can do it too.
Yeah, so that actually leads right into our assignment for this week for you guys. So this week, our assignment is that we want you, this is going to depend on whether or not you're married or not. So if you're married, we want you to take some time this week to review your family norms and analyze what's working and what's not working, and what other norms can be added into your routines that can improve your lives together. So sit down, have that discussion, and take a good, honest look at what you do on the daily, weekly, monthly, and then you can even go as far as into your traditions and be like, hey, this thing that we do every week, it's working, it's awesome. Laundry, not so great, or other things, and you just have that discussion and be honest and figure out what's working and what's not, and then figure out what you can add that will make your lives better. And then if you're single or if you're a couple, then you could discuss and write down. We'll discuss if you're a couple and then think about it and then write it down. If you're single, what kind of family norms you would like to see in your life with your significant other, or in your eventual life with someone that you're looking for. And then how can you work towards establishing those norms?
Yeah.
Norms aren't developed in a single day. And then just having them written down isn't going to just magically make them appear. You have to work towards them. But at least having it written down, there's something special about that, so that you can look back to it when things either aren't going that way, or you can look back and be like, hey, you know what? We accomplished 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Or we accomplished 7 out of 10. Let's aim towards this one next time.
And if you are new to like, okay, I don't know which area, so it could be daily routine that you do at home. And then I usually just, go through what about my mental? How can I, what's the norm of developing my mental look like? Physical, emotional, and then for me, even for our family, it's a spiritual. How can we create a healthy norm toward our spiritual growth? So these are the
Characteristics
of a healthy norm for your family.
Yep. Yeah, so with that, that's great. And what we'd like to do right now is thank you guys for tuning in. We hope that you can take our engaging walk and make it your own. And
stay tuned for the next week. And the next week we're going to discuss
familial problems. So things that you might be having with your in-laws, with your brother, with your your wife's brother or your brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Or if you're not married and you're having those familiar problems already. Woo. That's some drama.
Yeah.
Another heavy topic, but another very, very important one to discuss and to get out there. So with that, we also don't want to go without reminding y'all to please hit that follow button, rate us if you're watching on Spotify, if you're watching or listening rather on Spotify or like Google Podcasts or whatever platform that you're using. Make sure you just give us some feedback.
We'd love to hear from you, and don't forget to share it with your friends, your loved one, if you think that is helpful for them too.
Yeah, we're very excited to be able to bring this content that works for us in our marriage to people out there. And if you find it like, hey, this is good stuff, then let people know.
And thank you so much for spending time with us and including us in your day. We appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so with that, we are Drake and Rubie with Engaging Walk, and we are signing out.
Bye.